Welcome to the Prosperity Grid presentation. In this presentation, I want to introduce you to a method we use to make money. I want to show you an easy way how to make money from home and how to help others to do the same. For those who don't know, my name is Hannes Jordan. I'm here because I love to help others make money. You can link up with me at successwithhannes.com, but don't do it now. It's just easy to remember, so keep that in mind. What you are about to learn. I will introduce you to the 3 easy steps you can follow to become a money earner. And as a bonus for attending this presentation, I will have a free gift for you, which I will tell you about at the end of the presentation to say thank you for attending. Good. We all know how disrupted our lives became since the pandemic, or plandemic as some might like to call it. Why is this information I'm about to share with you so important at a time like this? The system is broken, people. Robert Kiyosaki famously said, at age 65 and the USA, 91% of people are either dead or dead broke. 1% are considered rich, 4% are considered comfortable, 5% are still working in a job, 56% need government support or family support, and 34% are dead, muerte. Okay, so 53% of American households are at risk of insufficient retirement. I mentioned the USA as it is a first world country, and even in a first world country, everything is not as we expect it should be. This is the current state of affairs in the top country in the world. Just consider, how are things in your own country? Is it any better? More than 1 in 3 workers have less than $1,000 saved. And 1 in 4 American adults do not have a single penny saved. Today, the average age expectancy for millennials is more than 100 years. We've been taught that you go to school, study and learn your trade or craft till you are in your 20s. Then you're stuck at a job till you are 65 and then retire after working for approximately 40 years. Does that still work today? And yet, that is what we keep telling our kids. Find a job, look for a steady job with steady income. Don't understand me wrong. I'm not shooting down jobs. What I'm trying to bring to your attention is that things have changed. There is no more such a thing as job security. Most jobs that existed 15 years ago does not exist anymore. They've been replaced by a whole new paradigm of jobs that never existed before. What are the options? Option 1, the career where you go study to become a doctor, engineer, or lawyer, for example. Option 2, the entrepreneur, where you learn a craft or trade and you build a business. Option 3, the job where you work for someone else who needs help in their business. Those are the basic options that people are stuck with today. Option 1, the career. It will require you to become an A student. You will need to graduate at the top of your class before companies will see your worth and sponsor you into their training programs or to pay for your studies. You will get a permanent job with a decent salary at a large company that will give you benefits and possibly a car allowance, etc. You'll be able to afford a home with a white picket fence and live happily ever after, right? Okay, we all know that's not how it works. The cost to attend the average college in the United States is $48,000 per year, and that's per year for 4 years to get a qualification. That amount goes up to $190,000 per year for 5 years in top colleges. The US government's number 1 asset is outstanding student loan debt at $1.6 trillion. How crazy is that? That a government's biggest asset is debt of students. In the United States, the only loan you are not allowed to declare bankruptcy on is a student loan. Shocking. We are quick to tell our kids to get a mortgage once they start making money. Mortgage comes from the Latin word mortgio, which means in debt. You are essentially acquiring debt until death. You can probably understand why the Latin language isn't understood anymore and why lawyers use it to confuse people. The average doctor in the United States does not manage to pay back their student loan until they are in their early 50s. Option 2, the entrepreneur. This is how it goes. You get through school, you typically skip college, you start a traditional business, and you live happily ever after, right? The reality, however, is a big difference for entrepreneurs. As an entrepreneur, your chances of failure is 96%, as businesses fail within the first 5 years. Entrepreneurs typically experience multiple bankruptcies and financial ruin. You typically owe your mortgage for life. The average entrepreneur in the US owes $600,000 in debt. Option 3, the job. Get through school, learn a trade or a skill, get a job to get by, and live happily ever after. The reality, however, is that there is no such thing as job certainty. Millions of jobs have been lost worldwide because of COVID-19. 50% of jobs will be gone in 15 years. Job security is now actually an oxymoron and a contradiction. There is no such thing. So what ends up happening is that you end up renting for life. As we can see, none of the options seem particularly attractive. That's just typical of what we face today. Allow me to introduce you to the Prosperity Grid, where we as a community work together to create financial abundance. The Prosperity Grid is available all over the world. I'm going to show you a little video of testimonials.
Well, I think most of you guys know me from the Grid. This is very different from all the other meetings in the Grid, where we sit with wine and we chat and get to share one another's dreams and hopes. That's the part of me that you will find in the Grid. Shirley is the business brains and the PDFs and the beautiful website and all the graphics. I'm like, okay, everybody calm down and let's share whatever we can share. That's my section of the Grid. I'm a life coach and a hypnotherapist here in Dubai, and I just love the human mind and working with people. So that's my passion. And the Grid is like one amazing playground, and I just love it. I just love it. I love the different people. I love all the intricacies of it. It makes you tired sometimes, but it is so beautiful when you see a big plan come together. And that's my reason for the Grid. Money will follow. For me, money will follow. If you do good and you give to people, then money will follow. That's my outlook in life. Over to you, Shulz.
I've always been an entrepreneur, dabble here, dabble there, don't like to work very hard, like to make lots of money. And in my life, I've spent a lot of years working really hard. And I've always said there has to be an easier way. There just has to be. Anyway, and I said to her, you know, hey, honey, how's it going? You know, what's life? She's like, no, frick, life is amazing. And I said, oh, well, that's awesome. I mean, I'm always happy to hear like positive stories. That's all good. Tell me why, you know, is it something specific or just in general? She's like, no. She says, I've got this circle of people that like pay me $4,000 every month. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, so she just left it at that. Now, of course, I'm like, my brain is working overtime because now all I want to do is ask her questions like, how is this even possible? I mean, you know, so I keep like poking at her and she's quite like, you know, holding back a little bit, but which is perfect because the more she was holding back, the more I was kind of interested. So anyway, eventually she's like, okay, no, cool. I'll tell you a bit more, but like, it's quite exclusive and, you know, like almost as if she was like sussing me out, like would I be a good fit or, and I was really getting the shit with her. But anyway, eventually she said to me, okay, I'm going to let you watch a little video and then after this video we can chat. You know, we just like, both of us, like, and her cat, we're like focusing on this freaking video. And eventually I said to her, shit, okay, that sounds like really cool. So she's like, yeah. And then she changed the subject a bit, and now I'm like ready to slap her, because now just stop what you're doing. I want to know the skinny. Tell me everything. So eventually she like let it slip. Well, I've got 2 invitations, so like there's only space for 2 people. And I was like, okay, I want to be, in my mind I'm thinking, how do I be one of those people? I want to be one of those people. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Who do I give a blowjob to? What do I do? It was like that hectic. Anyway, sorry for anyone who's offended by that, but that's me. So eventually she kind of like spilled the beans, and I said to her, well, I'm in. And she told me that like I needed to bring 2 people, and that wasn't even as I thought, I'll deal with that tomorrow. That's fine. That'll sort itself out. I'm not even worried. I just wanted in on this amazing $4,000 a month from these amazing people, and like all I had to do at that stage, it was 8,600 rand. I didn't even flinch. I was like, I just did the maths in my head straight away, and I thought, it's all cool. I am a sort of a risk taker by nature, so I suppose it is a bit easier for someone like me. So like that afternoon, came home, she put me in touch with whoever I had to. I was joining this grid, and I had to pay this woman and whatever. Okay, cool. She sends me all the details. I'm like all ready to go, hook it up, bank account, set it up there, like what. And I go to hit the enter, like yes, and I stopped. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Because now I'm like, $8,600 is not like the end of the world. I can still eat tomorrow, that's fine. But it's this exchange of like, it's a random stranger, I don't even know this person. And $8,600, not like life-changing money, it's still quite an amount of money. And like literally I got up and I went to make a cup of tea, and I thought, shit, no way. Like, so buyer's remorse was like already starting to set in. And then I just thought, you know what? He who risks nothing gains nothing. And I thought, fuck it, hit the button, and off it went. And that was it. And I'm going into my 3rd cycle now for 3rd receiver position. And it's just, this in essence is not really a risk, because you can get your money back at any time. But it's got to kind of connect with you like quickly. If you've got to go back to the person and give them another PDF and let them watch another video, it's like, in my mind, they've got to kind of like grab it the first time around. And Marina will tell you, and all the people who are successful gridders are the ones that Marina and I brought in within 30 seconds. All of the people they brought in are the ones that have grasped it and like hook, line and sinker within 30 seconds. It's the ones that you kind of got to drag, the ones that you got to sponsor in. It causes a blockage. If everyone was like myself and Marina and my hubby and a couple of people we brought in, this thing we'd make 60 grand every week. Easy peasy lemon freaking squeezy. And as much as this is easy money, you have to work a little bit. You have to like talk to random strangers and tell your story, and you have to connect energetically, and you have to motivate people, and you have to uplift them all the time. And it's hard graft. But for the 20 minutes a day, or even 40 minutes a day, if you're like a hectic socialite, 40 minutes a day, energetic give, to get 60 grand. I've never had a job that paid like that, ever.
All right, let's continue with this. So the Prosperity Grid has only 2 aims, and that is to help our members create financial abundance for themselves and their families, and to grow thriving communities. Okay, that's the aims. Good. How do we accomplish this? We created a system of financial abundance and a social structure to uplift our thriving community. We used the Telegram app to help in creating environments for our members to engage and thrive as a community. All our members belong to the engine room, where we receive important information. We also have the chat room, where our members engage, uplifting each other on a daily basis. All right. When you join the Prosperity Grid, you join as a contributor. The contributor position is one of 4 positions in each Prosperity Grid. These are the 4 positions: the receiver, supporter, motivator, and contributor. When you join You are one of 8 contributors joining the grid. Each contributor contributes 7,500 Rand to the receiver of the grid they join. Each contributor will end up as a receiver to also receive contributions from 8 contributors to the value of 60,000 Rand. The grid cycles the moment all 8 contributors joined a grid. When the grid cycles, the grid splits in 2. The contributors become motivators, the motivators become supporters, and the supporters become receivers. The original receiver falls away to become a contributor in the original grid they started with, to repeat the process all over again. In each grid, it is the job of the motivators to each bring in 2 contributors. This needs to happen only once. Once you have your 2 contributors, your job is done, and you can cycle as many times as you wish without having to bring in any more people, as long as the 2 contributors you brought in stays in the system. As a community, each grid helps their 4 motivators to each bring in their 2 contributors. You are never left to fend for yourself. We are all here to help each other succeed. The Telegram groups are great in accomplishing that as we learn about each other on a more personal level and share our dreams. I'll show you a short animation of exactly how this happens. Okay, so there's the outside, the contributors, the motivators, and the supporters. The contributors, when they come in, they pay the receiver each 7,500 Rand. The receiver then receives in total 60,000 Rand. And what happens next is that the receiver falls away, the grid splits and becomes 2. The supporters become receivers, the motivators become supporters, and the contributors then becomes motivators. And both these grids starts all over again. The job of the motivators is to bring in 2 contributors each, but the whole grid, everybody in the grid, helps the motivators to accomplish this task. So as a community, each grid helps their 4 motivators to bring in their 2 contributors. You are never left to fend for yourself. We are all here to help each other succeed. The Telegram groups are great in accomplishing that as we learn about each other on a more personal level and share our dreams. Is there a guarantee? With the Prosperity Grid, you have a 100% money back guarantee. If you decide this is not for you, simply ask for your money back. There is no risk to you when you join us. We are behind you all the way. We want everyone to succeed. You have our guarantee on that. It's time for you to get on board. What do you get? You make 60,000 Rands every month. You get a community that is rock solidly behind you all the way. You get to meet new people and build a network of like-minded people. You're exposed to opportunities together with our members to change your life and those you care about. Say yes to success and contact the person who sent you here. Well, before we wrap it up, I did mention to give you a gift. So when you go to this link, you will find your gift. This is a checklist with 25 business ideas you can start from home. So for those interested, just type that address in your address bar. Okay, there you go. All right, I'll just open the door. If you've got a question, please just unmute yourself and we'll take the questions now.
Hi, Hannes. Just one thing. What we normally do, and I know this is something that Shirley has said right from the start, is that the day somebody goes into the receiver position, they then immediately check to see what is $500 in ZAR, in South African Rand. That's the amount that gets fixed, because when I joined originally, I think the $500 came out to about 8,600 dirhams, Rand, and currently it's 7,400. So the day the person goes into the receiver, you check what is $500 in Rand, and that's the amount that if anybody is going to pay that into as a gift in rands, that's the amount that they put in.
All right, for the reweaving, look, you're going to be in contact with the person that brought you in the first place, because you probably would know that person. So as long as you keep following that person and stay in contact, you're automatically going to follow that person into the reweaving grid. So as long as you stay in contact with that person, you don't need to worry about the receiver of that. The person that you know that brought you in is the one that you're going to follow, and in order to reweave, and that will automatically put you then in the correct grid. And then for reweaving, ideally you should stick to your original grid, and you can join another grid, the second grid, but for your reweave you stick to your original grid. Otherwise you open a gap into that grid. So you are able to join two grids, but you need to, when they're advertising that there's a space open in another grid, you are able to join that grid as a second option, a second grid. But your original grid, you need to follow your original grid, otherwise you're breaking the chain.